Oh, I'm good to go. Okay. Good evening, honorable guests, AAM members and friends. I'm Christine, President of Board of Directors of Architect Association of Macau. Firstly, I'm very happy to be here again to present you with AAM's 7th webinar of the year. And tonight is another hybrid webinar. What it means is we have in-house guests here with us tonight in Macau, and we also have guests online from Hong Kong, Macau, and Czech. So let me introduce you our panelist team for tonight, which assists us with all the technical matters and Q&A. So we have from our Board of Directors, our Vice President, Donna Wu, and our Director from Board of Directors, Manel Lai, Jimmy Wadana, and Vincent Hong. And let me introduce you with tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is a continuation of our Heritage Architecture series, Adaptive Reuse and Architectural Spatialization on Heritage Architecture. Fusion in Architecture, a case study by Lasvit and OVA architects from Czech. This webinar will be presented in 3 parts. So firstly, we'll look at the making of bohemian glass, one of the traditional craft arts in Czech, the art of handcraft glass, and like many cultural practices across the world, in the process of transformation into contemporary content through the fusion of traditional innovation. And then we'll follow by a case study of the headquarter of Lasvit, adaptive reuse and architectural spatialization. And lastly, we'll have a Q&A session at the end held by our board members. And you might like to put in your Q&A question anytime in the Q&A chat box. And now let me introduce the speakers for tonight. We have 2 speakers from tonight, both from Czech. Firstly, we have Maxim, if I pronounce it right, Velčovský, the art director of Lasvit. Maxim completed his study at the Academy of Arts, Architecture and Design in Prague. Maxim participated over 90 joint exhibitions in his work, for instance, included collection of Victoria and Albert Museum in London, and many more. And Maxim will be conducting the first part of the presentation, looking at the historical significance, the innovation techniques, and the application of the handcraft bohemian glass in Czech. And then it will be followed by Štěpán Valouch, co-founder of QVA Architectural Studio, graduated from the Czech Technical University, and together with Jiří, I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong, co-founded OVA Architecture Office. The office studio looks at simple solutions to complex tasks and strive to bring permanent and long-lasting quality with the right amount of humor, which is really what we need. And Štěpán is also the head of University Atelier and the Czech Technical University in Prague, and also an architect. So before we start tonight's presentation, I would like to present the speakers for the support of our webinar, and join us for tonight to celebrate tonight's event. And he will present to you the certificate of appreciation, and the hard copy will be mailed to you to Lasvit's office. So now I would like to hand over to Maxim to start the presentation.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can see me.
I will let you see the screen. I'm Christine again.
Yeah.
I'm going to start muting myself and let you share the screen.
Okay. Okay, great. So can you see the screen, my presentation?
Yes. Yes, all good to go. Okay, all yours.
Okay, great. So it's fantastic to be with you, although I'm sitting right now in Prague on the other continent, and it's a really great pleasure to be invited at your dinner. I would like to say something about Lasvit, the company that I'm our director of. Lasvit was founded in 2007, and since that time we completed hundreds of projects within architecture and interior design. And on the first slide that I'm showing you right now, you can see our countryside that surrounds us. We are actually located in northern Bohemia. That's why we are called Bohemians, and we are located in the middle of inactive volcanoes. So luckily we don't have any living lava, but we produce our own transparent lava called glass. I just need to have some technical difficulties with the slides. Sorry, I will push on. Can I? Yeah, now it works. Sorry. Yeah. So this is actually the headquarters we reconstructed and renovated recently. It was done by OVA architects that you mentioned right now. And this used to be actually the old block in the city center of Nový Bor, which is the city that we are located. And in this very special place, there used to be an old glass school. In our region, we have the opportunity to work with so many talented students. And actually, our schools in the region are the oldest schools, oldest glass schools in Europe. So we took advantage as the old school moved to a new place. We bought this place and we decided to make architectural competition for our new headquarters. And the winner was OVA Architects because we loved their approach, their style of work, and how they actually would work within the old context, taking the old architecture and placing new architecture into old context. So we created this blending of old and new together. And on the slide, you see our glass house, which was very much inspired by a local environment. The old, the wooden house, the first wooden house you see on the image on the left dates back to the 1790s. So the challenge was here with the town preservers to go back to the roots and to reconstruct these old houses and then to bring new elements which would be in a harmony with older architecture. So on the left side there is this wooden house, and this is our new headquarters, which already won several awards within architecture. And you see that our house is transparent. Our employees, our colleagues enjoy sunrise in the morning. They can take a coffee in the basement, and they can have meetings in this house. It's something like a greenhouse where people can enjoy the light and the glass and the transparency in one moment. This is like a sneak peek to Štěpán's presentation, which will follow after me. And this is a kind of cafeteria which we have in a basement where you can sit with our colleagues and discuss things regarding our projects. Our headquarters are the home, a new home for all those who love glass. And I'm very happy that we created this environment for them with OVA Architects. Talking about Lasvit, it's very much about the history, because Czech glass originated, deep in the forest of Central Europe, and the history goes back to the 12th century. Glass has always been here, and also the forests are important part of the Czech glass heritage, because when you do glass, you need trees, you need a forest, you need a fire, and you need so many skillful people that are eager to create amazing things. Our tradition is very spectacular, because Bohemia is, one of the only places remaining in Europe where you can find so many glass furnaces, glass workshops, and so many skillful people that are able to create, to work with so many different techniques, from blowing glass until the cutting and all the hand work done within this magical material. You might know Czech Republic or bohemian glass as something, as a phenomenon which you might know mostly from the classical chandelier industry or classical chandelier manufacturing. Because the classical chandeliers have always been something that Czech Republic was famous for, and Czech crystal chandeliers could be found in the palaces of the French King Louis XV, Maria Theresa, Empress of Austria, Elizabeth of Russia, or the Sultan of Dolmabahce. Classical chandeliers have always been something super bohemian and something which is very important part of our history, that we are actually working with this phenomena. On the next slide, on this slide, you can see Palazzo Serbelloni, which is the amazing palazzo in Milan, and we had the opportunity to restore these chandeliers, and in this very special palace, Napoleon Bonaparte used to live during his Milano stay, and he ordered these chandeliers from Bohemia back in the days. We had this opportunity, we were called to come up with the restoration of these amazing chandeliers, and we brought the samples to our furnace and redone missing parts which were missing for centuries, and the reconstruction of old beautiful palaces and old beautiful chandeliers is one part of our business. But now I would like to go to the future, actually back to the future, to the 20th century, and show you some of the works that we are inspired by, because Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic always was famous for its experimentation within the glass. In Czechoslovakia, we created a lot of inventions, and we work with so many techniques and so many skillful craftsmen that we are able to come up with a new solution for future projects. One of them is René Roubíček, who is he unfortunately passed away several years ago, but I was very lucky to work with him on our projects. And this slide here shows you one of the first expressive three-dimensional sculpture which has been done for the Expo 58 in Brussels. So back in the 50s, this guy was able to create such amazing colorful compositions which would remind you of paintings of Jackson Pollock, or and a very expressive way how to express yourself with the glass. So glass is not anymore only the technical like sheet glass or like bottle glass or tableware, but he used this kind of the power of a glass as in a really personal way how to express, how to build a sculpture back in the 50s. I asked him when he was still alive to design something for us, and he started to sketch on a paper within his piano back in his studio, and he was drawing like in a punk way on the paper, and I asked him, what is it, what is this sketch? And he said, this is a sketch, and why not? And we took this and why not moment, and we translated it into the name of a chandelier. So the result of his and why not is this one, and this is actually his first serially produced chandelier for Lasvit. he designed in his 90s. It might remind you a kind of a group of Star Wars lighting swords in a one composition, but actually the shape itself goes also back to the 50s to his designs he exhibited in the World Exposition in Brussels. Talking about huge installations, because Lasvit is known for as a company taking care of local environment and bringing stories from Bohemia to all the other continents, and within this beautiful material, this would be a sample of amazing chandelier from the 70s done by Václav Ziegler, and this chandelier is a unique opportunity to see Slovak National Theatre, where he placed this amazing sphere, where you can actually program the ornament on the surface in the old way by just pushing the buttons. So you can create the ornament, as you can see on the right side of this slide. His work was very much connected with architecture, and this is one of the samples how he played with metal and glass, and he created amazing constructions in a historical space. Like on the right side, he by using glass and a metal construction, he created these amazing grids, which work as a kind of a contrast to the historical ceiling, which you can see on the right side. And this one is a sample of amazing piece done by Libensky and Brychtova. So this couple was amazingly investing time into experimentation with glass. And this very special slide is it's called the River of Life, and was presented at the World Expo in Osaka in 1970. Lasvit brand is about the land, it's about the craft, and it's about the beauty, because all together makes the quality and makes the context of the time and space. The Bohemian tradition and culture of glass, making are part of Czech history and its foundation. And imagine that we inherited these amazing traditions just only because of passing from generation to generation. If one generation would stop, then we would lose all the traditions and all the techniques that were passing from generation to generation. We are really proud to continue on this tradition. So in the beginning of everything, there is a glass preparation, which is some kind of a magical moment, because you have to mix a lot of things together to create the right composition and to create the right transparent liquid substance, which at the end ends up as a transparent solid block. And we are here to shape it. And so this is a slide showing you that in the beginning there are powders, and you have to melt the powders for at least 1900 degrees. And the glass consists of sodium carbonate, silica sand, and potash. And this is how we mix the glass and how we make the colors. Very important part of our of making is actually the wooden molds, because we are blowing into the wood, especially into the beech tree molds, and these molds are carved. The shapes you architects and interior designers come up with, we have to carve them into the wood, and then we blow into the wooden molds. Not only wooden molds are used, we also work with the metal molds, but the wooden molds is the very traditional way how to blow into blown glass. And so here The camera shows you like the guy working on a lathe. So everything is, most of the shapes are done by rotating, are getting into the mold and you are creating inside the space. So imagine the guy has to have a kind of a negative way of thinking, because he's doing the shape he's doing the hollow moment of the molds. So he always takes a stencil and he brings it into the inside of the mold, and he has to create a very special way the mold we are blowing in. And this is how actually glass is treated. This guy is holding a pipe with a hot substance, with a hot glass, and imagine some of the guys are nearly bodybuilders because they have to lift the glass like 20-30 kilograms into the space on a pipe, and it really needs a very strong guys, and you have to blow it, you have to blow into the pipe to be able to enlarge the shape itself. So this is the way how all our components are actually starting. Lasvit is a platform for experimentation, and that's why we need we are eager to use a lot of glass techniques. One of our own, the main one is hand-blown glass method, and we start from mixing the substance, mixing the glass, using the powders for right colors. On the second slide, you see Humberto Campana from the Campana brothers duo, famous designers from Brazil, prototyping first samples in our furnace. And on the right side, you see the flame heating up the colors, so the designers can realize how the color effect works on the surface of the glass. This is basically all the steps that are very important in the glass making. So you see always working, someone working with the pipes. There is a lot of guys, you know, having these kind of bubbles on the end of the pipe, and you need really skillful people, because you learn at least 4 years at the secondary school how to blow glass, and then you practice several years in our furnace to become one of the really best blowers in the region. So that's why we love like people with invention and with a craft sense, so they can experiment. Because imagine that you have so many interior designers and architects coming into the furnace, and each one has a different idea, and you have to make their idea real. You have to make a real objects out of their dreams. And that's why you need a couple of skillful guys to be able to make them real. So on the previous slide, you saw how the blowers are blowing into the mold. And this is a sample of a fantastic building made out of blown bricks. In this very special case, we are talking about the borosilicate glass, which is the glass, which is a kind of a heat-proof glass. And all this facade, this amazing facade from the 80s, is very, next to a very historical building of National Theatre in Prague. So the architects made this contrast on old and new, and created these amazing blocks out of borosilicate glass. So each of the facades, they are like 60-70 centimeters big. It's like a huge TV old school screen placed on the facade, and each one was blown in to the mold. So on the right side, you see how the pipe was blown the cube, and how it is adjusted on the facade. In this very special moment, it has not only aesthetical parameters, but also technical parameters, because the double wall of glass preserves the building against the noise from the street, because there is a theater inside. So it has also the isolation effect and soundproof effect in the reality. So this is the way how I actually blew it, how these cubes are done. So very tough guy takes a really massive amount of glass and puts it into the mold and creates this objects. And on the right side you see designs like table designs by Nendo, a Japanese superstar, who came to our furnace and started to experiment within blowing into these metal cages. You can see how the final results. So some of the glass are kind of they look like they are connected inside, but actually 3 blowers are blowing into the mold, and then all these parts are connected together. Some of our molds actually look nearly like a torturing machines, as you can see on the left side, and they are artwork themselves, not only the glass element inside, glass object inside, but you need to engineer a lot of things before you start to work, and this is how we produce one single component blowing into the metal mold. So you see the ribs on the left and the result on the right side. And this particle chandelier was designed by Moritz Waldemeier. This is the guy who was also part of the lighting process at the Olympic Games in London. And he was inspired by classical chandeliers, and he came up with this fractal system where we blow these hexagons, and these hexagons are connected all together. So you are able to create this kind of a new age 3-dimensional chandeliers, and you can actually adjust its size by the size of the interior. This is how blown glass works within the interior. You see these pyramids on the left side of the presentation. They are placed on a wall, and they remind you of a kind of a punk necklace or something like that. And here all the triangles or the pyramids were actually blown as well, and then they were silvered from inside. So they give you this kind of silverish or goldenish effect. So this is the sample how we play with the glass within an architecture. So we don't create only a lighting installation, but also pieces being like wall dividers or space dividers or architectural elements in the interior. This is the way actually how you can also play with the glass. So imagine you are blowing, you are taking a glass bubble, and with the scissors you are able to model a leaf, for example. So from this hot substance, why it is still hot, you are taking it, pulling out, and stretching the glass out, and you are able to model like with a clay. So we created this amazing installation in Peninsula Paris. The Peninsula Paris, which first opened as the Hotel Majestic back in 1908, is located in a late 19th century classic French building with Haussmann and neoclassic features. And the property has subsequently been meticulously restored and discreetly modernized for the 21st century. So at Avenue Kleber, just a few steps away from the Arc de Triomphe, the peninsula is located in the very heart of Paris, and we were challenged to do this installation. Inspiration was the plane trees in a kind of a whirlpool in the lobby in the reception. So the designer was inspired by this, leaves waving in the wind, and in this very special interior, it became one of the eye-catching moments and also part of the DNA of the hotel. So all the guests who love this installation, they can bring one leaf with them as a memory for staying in Paris and staying at Peninsula. And this is the detail where you can see that we are adding pieces of silver and pieces of golden leaves into each leaf. So each leaf is actually is a piece of sculpture. So each piece has individual shape and is done by very skillful modelers on the pipe, and then these leaves are brought from Bohemia to Peninsula to create this superb installation. This is one of my installation, and also I was here working with the bubbles, and there's about 5,000 bubbles, and you see here portrait of Princess Caroline. Princess Caroline was the quarter of Prague called Karlín was named by her, and here I wanted to express the history, by doing this installation, by creating her portrait in a lobby of a new building which has been built recently. This is the details. These are the bubbles. So if you look at it from the front, you see her. You see the realistic portrait of her. And once you are moving around, all installation is actually becoming abstract, because you see just a huge block of bubbles which are remaining as an abstract field fulfilled with bubbles. Now I'm gonna tell you something about the cast glass, because Czech Republic is known for huge glass sculptures, and this is the couple, Mr. Libensky and Ms. Brichtová, who were in the beginning of this experimentation. They created a technique so they can cast glass almost like a bronze, and they can create these amazing sculptures with the glass, because the glass is only a transparent material that we know, a natural material that you can play with, and it stays here, for ages. It doesn't change in the colors, it doesn't change in the shape. And imagine that such a block you would cool, for example, like a half a year to be able to take it out of the kiln. So whole process can be really time demanding, and it's all about slow cooling the blocks so they won't crack. This is some of the samples of their work, amazing wall dividers made with this technique. And especially this one, these glass meteorites who come up from the concrete wall, were made for amazing TV tower, which is called, Ještět, and this TV tower actually won the Parrot Award back in the 60s, 1969. So Mr. Hubáček, the architect, was the first Czech and the only Czech actually who won the award, like Renzo Piano, Richard Rogers, Shigeru Ban, Norman Foster, and the others after him. This is also the technique that we used for making of the Brit Awards, and so you see that you can take this the glass and pour it into the plaster mold, and you can create a lot of objects. So here you see Dua Lipa and Chris Harris having our Brit Awards in their hands. Next technique, slammed glass. It's a very special technique for architects because they use it as as a one method for creating space dividers or walls in architecture. Here this is designed by Václav Ziegler, Czech architect, and that was a metro station. This is one of our designers, Vanda, who is carving into the ceramic material, and then you put a layer of glass on top, and you slump it over the relief you create. So architect or designer becomes a sculptor, and then the glass imprints into the ceramic mold. Sorry, back. Yeah, this is one of our installations called Deluxe City, and in this very special piece, Vanda is recreating graffiti in a three-dimensional form. So imagine each single piece you see on a slide is carved into the ceramic material, and then the glass is stamped, imprinted into it, and then she created this three-dimensional effect of graffiti by putting these sheets in various compositions. And this guy, Roslav Grove, created our liquid crystal sheets. So this concept was, he got inspired by dunes and water, and this is how we produce this glass elements for architecture. So you see on the right side of the presentation, you see the metal ribs, and once you put a technical sheet glass, it gets imprinted into the metal, and you create these amazing waves that they remind you of like a floating river or sand dunes in a desert. And this is how it works on the facade. A really nice effect. It was a big challenge for us to produce this concept, because it has to work in the big dimension. It has to be safe, and it has to architects very much use this concept in the space where you don't need 100% transparency. So this very blurry effect gives you other typology of environment, of ambience. And this is how we treat glass in a fused way. So imagine that the glass is put together, and it's being fused in a kiln, and we are able to create such a huge installation. So imagine this installation has around 200 tons, and our projects very often start 2-3 years before the house or a skyscraper is even built. Our engineers, our Lasvit work is about engineering, about art, and about craft. We need a skillful team coming into the place and setting it up, for a 1 month time, for example. So it's a lot of engineering, a lot of work before it actually our team starts to set it up. And this is the way how Andrea Fu used fusing of glass. These blocks are put into the kiln, they are fused together, and he created this amazing installation for St. Regis, Hong Kong. Now we are getting for the pressed glass, because pressed glass is a technique that you might know from tableware. A lot of glasses are made by pressing. This is an amazing installation in an underground system in Prague, done by František Wiesner. So all these waves are pressed, and by pressing you can achieve this very special effect by a repetition of the same elements. This is our wall, which was designed by Concern Design, and we are able to create this endless walls by repeating this glass ornaments, designers and architects come to our place and they play with this concept as with a puzzle. So each time you can achieve different compositions. Hot rolling is very adventurous, especially for people in a place and when architects are coming to our space. So imagine you are pouring the hot glass like water, and you have to cool it in a frame, and you are creating this glass tiles as you see on the right side, and so we are able to create these glass block walls with this concept, as you see on this slide. So talking about casting glass, we did last year a very special concept which is called herbarium. And we are actually casting the glass on top of the flowers, and we are creating this kind of fossilization of the past, of the present, of the flora, of the herbs. And then you can see these herbs casted in the glass, and they stay alive forever. You know, in kind of transmission from this natural part into the glass fossil. So we are creating this endless installation in a space. So imagine you take your own herbs from the local environment, and we cast them for you, and we create this very special transparent meadow, almost a magical moment in the interior. And these are the details that in some cases they imprint with a very special color. In some cases we add a bit of gold into the structure to give it a better like the shine inside of the core of the glass. And now we are at the glass welding method. That imagine that in some cases of glass you can weld the glass. So this is the sample done by Věra Lišková back in the 60s, and our designer was inspired by this technique and created this amazing installation for Prince Mahidol Hall. And it's installation that responds with the music. So the light moves like based on the sound level. So whole composition, whole installation is actually kind of a waving, kind of a blinking in a harmony based on the sound in this hall. Amazing installation. And here I would like to show you some of the techniques we use, like a cracked glass that is done by a very special way. That imagine you are blowing this tube, then you take this tube on the pipe into the sawdust, and then you crack it, you pour it into the water, and you crack it in the water, and then these cracks you have to put back into the hot atmosphere, into the fire, so they are fixed forever. So you create these cracks intentionally, and they are kind of transmitting the light. They are refracting the light on this very special design by Nendo, a Japanese designer who came to our furnace already 8 years ago and started to experiment within our furnace. In some ways, we love experimenting within materialology, within techniques, and Lukáš Novák took an old technique from the northern Bohemia, invented by Mr. Egerman, and created this amazing surfaces reminding you of a planet, of a universe, and also of gemstones or precious stones. This technique was actually originally designed how to simulate or how to replace these gemstones. So they were cutting it in to achieve these amazing structures. And Lukáš took this technique and created our spacey chandelier or spacey lamp for us, that you can enjoy these beautiful colors in one composition in your home. We are in Lasvit. We are very much keen on working with architects on renovation projects, and through the years we had the opportunity to work with so many great architects around the world. Coming to our place, they always get inspiration in our furnace back in Nový Bor. They walk around the space. They create their experiments in the space. They have conditions to experiment, and this is what fascinates us, because we need people with imagination, and we are here to fulfill their dreams. So this is actually great Scotland Yard in London, which is a famous building for its history. And back in the day, all-female 40 elephant gang ran the capital's biggest shoplifting racket. For Scotland Yard, they were an everyday nightmare. So now what used to be a police station has been turned into a luxury Hyatt hotel developed by Galliard Homes, and Lasvit teamed up with the HBA Dubai to create a unique lighting installation which tells a story about this infamous gang of women. So here on this slide you see the kind of a crashed window, and in the middle you see the necklace that is a kind of a symbol of these robberies. So the story is always a very important part of our projects, and here it's blending all together in one huge chandelier of a spatial glass installation. So our designers work on this. So this is the bottom view. So you see the kind of a glass in like a sphere composition, and then the necklace in the middle. And on the right side, our designer who came up with it with this idea, which was done as well in our furnace and brought to Scotland Yard. So, and Mandarin Oriental, London, was also challenged to work on. We love the historical context, because our designers are reacting on this context, and they are bringing the stories into the historical interiors. We are working on projects actually around the world, and this one is placed close to the Hyde Park, and it's like designed by Purcell Hong Kong and Joyce Wang and Adam Tihani, and Wang took her cues from the hotel's perch right on the city's beloved Hyde Park, and subtly layered the interiors with her signature modern looks aesthetic, inspired by the early 20th century golden age of travel. And this special chandelier was done by the fusion technique, so it creates this kind of exotic kind of palm inspiration transformed into this beautiful Art Deco chandelier. And this is the detail that you see the structure. The glass is, amazing material for its details. So you see the bubbles inside of the glass. You see the, beautiful the structures which can be only brought within the glass. So imagine these techniques you have to always invent for each project by our designers, and that's why we love bespoke projects, because it's always the new era, a new way how to experiment or how to create amazing collaborations with great people in creative field of architecture interior. And that was the last slide, and I think we ran out of the time. And I would like to thank you for being with you. Hopefully there will be some questions later on. I would like to ask Štěpán Valouch from OVA Architects to continue in the presentation and to tell you some more about our great headquarters in Nový Bor. Thank you for having me, and I ask Štěpán to continue.
Hello everybody, can you hear me? I hope so. Thanks Maxim for inspiring speech. I hope we will do some great lands in other time. And I would like to introduce our project. I would like to thank you we are honored to be part of your conference. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your that you invite us. And now I would like to tell you something about the story of restoration, this old building, and adventure of inviting new building. We are a small architecture studio. We are same old as a Lasvit, almost 14 years. We are like 12 people. You can see sitting one of the person, it's me and my colleague Jiří and Jiří Opočenský, and we have like 10 people, and we are trying to find some inspiring houses. So Lasvit choose some architecture companies for the competition to find the great solution of this old building. Maxim told about Nový Bor, that it's a really small city north of Bohemia, and the landscape around this city is really beautiful, full of volcanoes, and we were glad that we can sorry, small technical problems. Oh, thank you. Camera was sleeping, excuse me. So hello again, and now I can continue with my speech. This building was built 200 years ago, and it was restored every 50 years. So it has many problems inside it, and last restoration was like 40 years ago, and it was the worst restoration because all the building is wooden, and they put their polystyrene, and many of wooden beams were destroyed. And when we came to this building, there was some part which was nice, but many was destroyed, and many was disturbing architecture composition of the whole area. So there was the result of competition. I'm showing you 4 teams, and it's nice that 3 of them were working with glass. One, our colleague, Mr. Hayek, architect, he designed many roofs. It's the left picture, left down. And another, our colleagues from ORA workers, they found another type of glass. And we are the white huge lamp inside the city. So we won it, and we were glad. And after that, Lasvit asked us how we will manage it. We were beginners with working with glass, but they were great partners, and together we found the solution, how to make a new glass building. For the first step, we make some deep surveys about Nový Bor and about old areas, and we found that there was some great carpenter who always built one of the house and then he sell it, and he was some kind of developer. And our building, it's on the square inside the city, and it's one of the first building which was built there. And it was new idea with this building because they came with a new type of urbanism. It was after Baroque, and all the building has their own garden. So it was some kind of gardening city or city with gardens, and it was something new and I think very comfortable for the citizens. So we came to Lasvit and bring the idea. We told them, you need to restore the old two buildings. Maybe you can build two new buildings, the white one and the black one. And maybe you can buy another building and to have an old block. And after 3 or 4 years, it's here and they bought another building, so they will have an old block. And they will have a in the country yard, which is connected together. And it's a like campus in the city. It's a living campus in the city, and I hope it will work one day. So we try to make it cleaner and very simple. So we put the red buildings out of this complex, and we have just 2 old buildings. And then we tried to give them a partner. And I'm showing you now a few pictures of our looking for the idea. We thought that the old buildings are like solitaire buildings, and we would like to bring there another solitaire, which will be self-assured, like which will be partner of this old buildings. And then we came with idea about library, which will be surrounded by glass. And the library will be full of samples, because when Lasvit works, they have many samples. Maxim were talking, and in his behind there was many samples. So we came with a building full of samples, and when they will find another job and they will look for another huge lamp, they can do this glass building, and then can try to be inspired. So it was the main idea of our work, and then we were looking for the form. We tried to belong to the other houses, that there's a one shop front, that there could be 2 big houses. But after that, we came that it's much better when the building is alone. So this is the result of our journey. It's a shelf. It's a house full of shelves, wooden house, and inside of it there is a meeting room and cafe. And this was visualization. It was just idea, and after that became 4 years of projecting and trying, and let's look deeper to our restoration. So now I will show you 2 old houses, how we try to make them better, and after that we can talk about the new buildings. So when we came to this left building, the white one with the black roof, there was a plaster on a facade, and we thought that we will keep it there, and it will be like facade with thermal insulation, because we didn't know in what shape will be the wooden facade. But after that, during in the state of under construction, we found that there is a unique type of wood and a unique unique decoration of these beams. But also the beams were in bad shape. So we were talking about with authorities, like we are talking with authorities, and we found that we can keep it, but we will need some time, and we will need some good workers who knows how to deal with this wooden shape. So there you can see that the wood was connected to brick walls, and everything was connected together. So some type of wood was in a really bad shape, and we have to repair it. So in a few weeks, the bad wooden were moved off, and the house was standing just on small steel standings, and it looks in my opinion terrible, and it was quite hard time to have it and to believe that we are able to repair it. But after that, we changed all the cherry beams and put there the new one, and we make it together with some oil material on it, and after that it looks much better. Inside of the house, we need we need to change the thermal insulation of it, because there should be like 40 workers in this building. So we put there the mud plaster. It's an old technique. It's some kind of plaster connected with clay and also with hay, and it's a really old technique, and it has a really nice texture. So we put there this plaster inside, and it was like also the fire protection. So there was it like this, and this is the result. On the right side of the picture, you can see the brown mud, and it has a really good qualities. It works very well with air and with clima of this building. We also put there the light just between the planks on the ceiling, so it's connected to the planks between the walls, and it has really special atmosphere, lighting atmosphere. So this is one of office for Lasvit. There is some special thing with these two old houses, and it's an entrance hall. It's a phenomenon in Nový Bor that all the houses has some small entrance hall. It's not just in the old houses you can see just stairs and some corridors, but here there is a entrance hall, and we would like to make it really nice. So we developed with ceramic factory special ceramic, which is inspired by Baroque patterns, and it has both of the old houses as this entrance hall. And as you can see in the picture, in the right side there was a black kitchen. In the old time there was an open fire for cooking, and this kitchen we restored it as a black room to remind that once there was an open fire. So it is again the black kitchen again. And this building has a wall middle of the house. There is a wall, and around there is a wood. So the brick part was for fire, and also the brick part was for animals, for cows, and for guts and so on. And on the upper floor, this building is full of corners where you can sit and where you can call to other person. And we tried to restore the old houses precisely, but also we want to put there the new layer as a black metal and the concrete. And as you can see in the picture, there's a huge glass wall, and this is connection to the glass house. And this type of door, it has 2 to 2 meters. It's wide and they are really big. And behind that, there's an acoustic corridor that when the door is open, you can't hear the people inside the glass house. I'd like to show you now the restoration of the other old building. As I said, every 50 years they maybe it's the same in the whole world, but I think the Czechs are really good in it, in changing the old things. So every 50 years they put there another part of building, so we can see the old one. It's a wooden from 200 years ago. Then they built a part just 2 meters wide on the right side, and after another 50 years they bring the left side. So every 50 years the building is bigger and bigger. And this story we would like to keep in this inside room. So we change it somehow, as I show you after that. And every ceiling was in a really bad shape. So we put away the old wooden wood, which was destroyed, and put there another one, the new one. Sorry. Yeah. And there was also, my colleagues will know it, but when you restore something, there are sometimes big surprises. Not just the bad one as a bad wood in a bad shape, but also there's sometimes there are good surprises. And we found that there is a well 23 meters deep and in a very good shape, but without water. And we were thinking what to do with this well. So we were thinking that we can put there rainwater from the roof, but with engineers, we are thinking that it's a not good idea to have a rain, because we are not able to find in what condition is this shape when we put there the rain from the roof. So after that, Lasvit came with the idea to keep it as it is, as a just as a whole, and they put there some art, as you will see in other picture. Yeah, this is now we are in the second floor of this second old building, and you can see the Baroque ceramic and also black steel reinforced for which is holding the stairs. In this picture, you can see that we keep the story of the house, that in the ceiling, which is acoustic and has some also the light in it, and there is a story of making the house older and older and bigger and bigger. So you can see the all the etapas of buildings. Yeah, this is the connection. The oldest house was just on the till the column, and after that there was another building. And again we can see the acoustic tunnel, which is leading to a cafe, which is in glass house. Yeah, this was the entrance hall with the dark pattern, and also Lasvit's lightings. And what is interesting, in the wooden beams, you can see small dots, and it's a small wooden which is prepared to be covered by mud plaster. So it's a 200 years old technique for plaster, and we keep it just as it is. Yeah, and now we can see this is view to the well, and there's a logo of Lasvit company, and there's a glass, so you can walk on it, and you can light it if you wish. Yeah. Now I would like to talk about the glass house. We were developing some glass tiles, and we were inspired by old cottages, which is surrounded by Nový Bor, and it's really old houses with black stone tiles. And we would like to find some texture which will be really similar to this black stone, but it will be from glass. So it's some kind of glass black stone type. And we developed type of construction. First, we thought that it will be wooden, but we have a problem that wooden is moving. Glass is always moving also. And steel structure, which is bearing for glass facade, is also moving. So we have three things which is moving, and it was not a good idea because everything is moving. So we tried to we make the hard core. We made a concrete core which is not moving, and then everything on it is possible to move. And then we can see the concrete structure is the gray one, and then there is a steel structure, the red one, which is bearing, and it is connected with which is connected to concrete structure. And after that, there are green lines. It is also steel structure, which is also moving on this red part. And on it, we developed 10 types of glass tiles, and every tile is unique, and it's a special technique which is laid down the glass. Maxim, we will talk it about better than me, but every glass is special. Here you can see that every tile has just one point which is connected to the steel structure, and everything else is moving. So when the sun is shining on it, there is a place that the glass can make it bigger, and also the steel structure can move. So everything is connected together, but everything is connected as it can move. Here you can see the sample. Our advantage was that we have a time to develop it, and this is after 2 years. It was standing outside, and there was some not nice green things between two tiles. So we tried to develop it, and we found that it is necessary to put there some space between. So we have a 10 millimeters between each tile, and there is not raining water, and it goes away, and it is still clean. So it was the part that we can develop it. So this was the sample, but we managed it that now there is a between it place, and it works much better. Here we can see how examine that it will work. And there is 80 kilograms of dust on it, and this type of glass was moving like there was 2 centimeters lower than when it is plain. And our colleague told us, "Oh, it will work also with me." So he stand up on it and just start to jump on it, and it didn't crash. So we believe that it is a really strong tile. And this is trying to, how to connect it together, and some working with light, and also for working with connection between the glass facade and between the steel structure. And we developed some kind of corner tiles because we recognize that it's not really nice this gap between those two tiles. So we developed one tile which is connected between two sides of facade. This is trying how it will work with the light. And there was also some adventure with this concrete cupola. We had a wooden house, it wasn't a problem, but after that, when we changed it to concrete structure, we talked to contractor and he told us, I'm not able to do this. It's not system, I'm not able to do it. So we tried to make another cupola and it looks like that. And when the contractor saw this, he told us, okay, I will prepare the first one. So now we can see that it is everything is possible when people want to do it. So we can see the samples of Lasvit works and also our cuckoo. And it was made by some special formwork with plywood and wooden planks and also polystyrene. Here we can see one man from Lasvit, it's on the left side, and the contractor on the right side. He was a really nice guy, Mr. Bretislav, and he made a great work. He made this formwork with plywood and planks, and on it he put it looks like a really nice pavilion, but it was destroyed. That's a pity, but I really like the space before the concrete was on it. And here we can see those cassettes made by polystyrene. And after that, here we can see when they put there the concrete. And after that, it's finished. So this is the glass house, and it was a really nice experience. And here we can see the acoustic tunnels made by wooden planks and the cafe with acoustic panels inside between the beams. There are some special acoustic panels. And in architecture competition, we came to client and told them, you can have a house where you will where you will show the something like mock-up room, where you can show those buildings and those lamps and lighting objects. And they told us, okay, but it's not, it's too small. So you can put there another floor, which we like this idea. So we put there another floor. And we were thinking about this house because we don't know if this area will be enough for Lasvit. So the building is now prepared that it can change to administration building, and the hall between the floors could be easily changed, that the hall will disappear and there will be an ordinary floor. So now this is the result. There are windows. You can put there just the beams inside the wall, but every day I think Lasvit use it, so maybe this will be for all the days just mock-up room. And now we can see we are standing on the floor, and we can see that the windows are black out. It's completely dark, and they are working with shapes. Yeah, this is photo from under construction state, and this is the result. It's a black house with black stone on facade. It's not black stone, but it's inspired by black stone. It's some kind of cement tiles. And now I can show you some just imaging photos of the result. We changed the doors. That it's a 250 years old doors, but we put there the candle, which is inspired by Lasvit logo. And this is it is my favorite picture because it's a brotherhood of the old and the new, and you can see that they work together, and I like this photo. and it's nice that it works with weather, and also this building works with sky and with sunny day. When it's a sunny day, it's glossy, and when it's a cloudy day, it's completely different. So this building is changing every day. And we are preparing now a coffee house in the fifth house, as I show you in the beginning of my speech. So yesterday I was there in a building, and it looks like that, and I hope it will be finished in 1 year or something like that. So thank you for your attention, and it's the end of my speech. And thank you, Jimmy, and thank you all of us. I hope I will go to Macau one day. 2 of my colleagues from our office was there, and they really like Macau. So thank you for your attention.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey guys, first of all, thank you. And for those who don't know me, my name is Jimmy. I'm a member of Board of Directors of Architects Association of Macau. And shall we give a round of applause for our speakers all the way from Czech, Maxim and Štěpán.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be your moderator for the Q&A session for the night. And firstly, I would like to thank you for such a great presentation. It provided an insight as to how simple and traditional material of bohemian glass can have such great versatility. And with innovation, it can be fused into architecture to create a great piece of art that contrasts strongly with the context and the heritage surrounding it. And with that said, I guess that opens up to the first question for Štěpán, which is whether or not in Czech, if there's a governing heritage guidelines or regulation that control the extent of heritage restoration in Czech. And could you also share with us as to how these regulations and guidelines are able to achieve a balance of heritage preservation and new architecture?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
is it okay? Can
yes,
you hear me?
I can hear you.
So we have really strong laws, and it has many problems with this heritage keepers. We have 2 levels of the heritage keepers. One level is some professionals, and the other level it's just some person who gave you the permission. And in Czech Republic we have a really difficult and very it takes a really long time to have a permission. So but in the first level the professionals, they are really nice and they know everything. They are afraid of everything new. So if you bring them something new, they are really afraid. But when you talk to them, it works, but it takes time. Is it clear like that?
Yeah, definitely. And again, like one of the very interesting point about the webinar tonight is we actually have the client, Lasvit, and the architect, OVA, together. And I'm definitely taking this opportunity to ask both of you the question, firstly directed to the client, Lasvit, as to what was the idea behind the selection of the headquarters, like why Nový Bor, if I pronounced it correctly. And was it planned, or did you just happen to pick a place and realize that it's a glass workshop with 200 years of history?
Well, if may I start? So Nový Bor is the city where we, operate anyhow, and we used to rent a space in Nový Bor, but we have no our own, roots, I would say, and we decided to connect this the tradition and the history with our company. So we bought this former glass school for making like for learning glass, and we decided to make an architectural competition. And this is what I would recommend to everyone and everybody, that architecture competition brings you several visions dependent on the amount of architects appearing. And this gave us an opportunity to look at this problem from many sides. And we chose OVA because we felt that they created something symbolic and also functional. And that's why we went for their design.
I would like to thank Lasvit. Excuse me.
Yeah, sure. I was actually about to ask you a question as well, as to like what was the first thought and and the challenge when you realized that you were successfully commissioned for the project?
Yeah. So we are afraid because we didn't have any experience with glass. So we are beginners, but we trust we can do it. But what I like to say that it would be for Lasvit much cheaper to build a new house, and for me it was a great idea to restore these two old buildings because it has its own spirit, and it has a really nice atmosphere, connection between old and new, and it was a really brave decision from there, because it would be much cheaper to have a new house. But I'd like to thank you.
I believe that we created something positive and something in harmony, because you saw on the picture of Štěpán, the house was covered with polystyrene, and it was quite an ugly house. And by taking out the levels, we found out this beautiful wooden construction, and we went back to the roots. So we were able to recreate these old structures and old architecture. And I hope that we also made something valuable for next generations, that this house is actually reconstructed. It costed more than building a new house, but I think I hope it was worth.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really interesting when the architect actually praised the client as well in terms of the heritage preservation. As you mentioned, having to build from scratch is obviously going to be a more economically way of doing it. But again, like as the client, by pushing it, preserving this heritage and the history, I think it's definitely props to Lasvit for being able to sustain that, to create this magical, I guess, integration of heritage. And again, you have the new building in contrast of each other. All right, so I'd like to take this moment to open up Q&A to the floor. If there's anyone on the venue who have questions, please raise your hand, and we would have our staff colleague Teresa to bring over the mic for all you. So is there anyone? Q&A? All right, seems like, is anyone going to take the, okay, here we go, Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you so much for giving us such an interesting about the glass house presented for the headquarters. I think most of us enjoy it very much, and I think that personally I like it, and it's a very elegant solution. I was wondering, is it very difficult for the university to get approval from the government for something as unique as this? What is the most critical part
Jimmy, if you can repeat the question, because I can't hear you. Maybe, I don't know if Štěpán can.
The question was more related to the approval process, like how difficult it is to get approval, if I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
I would. Shall I start answering?
Yeah, you can.
I can. You know, our headquarters are based in Prague. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Our headquarters are based in Prague, and for example, Prague has its unique, history. We are called textbook of architecture. We have one of the biggest UNESCO preserved land, the historical land, and our preservers are very tough, as you can imagine, because we have so many styles, from Romanesque through the Renaissance, Baroque, and our town preservers are. That's why everything takes time, because there is quite a queue for the projects, and they don't allow anyone a direction Prague Castle, for example, to build something new which would destroy the view of old city center. For example, this is one of the rules in such a historical context of Prague. But then you've got the regions where the system is much more quicker or easier to go through, because it has no such a historical conditions. And I would maybe now pass the word to Štěpán, who can also comment on this context.
In this case, it was like that. In the first level of heritage people, there was a commission where all the people from the town was there and were thinking about it, because they were afraid of this new type of building next to the old one. And but we were changing it somehow, and after like 6 months, they changed their opinion and they approve it. So for us, it takes like let's say 1 year to push it to there. And during the construction, the heritage guy, he was there every week and looking for every wood that no, this keep it, this one you have to keep it because something. And it a little bit, I was upset a little bit on him, but sometimes he teaches me something. So we tried to find some compromise, and it was a nice experience.
All right, thank you so much. And as we're short in time, I think that would be the last question. And again, I would like to, on behalf of AAM, I would like to thank Maxim and Štěpán for presenting the Lasvit headquarters for tonight. And I'm sure there's a lot of takeaways from tonight's presentation that we can learn from you guys. As Macau and Czech, they share similar history in terms of the richness in culture and history. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
And again, like for those who are here on the venue, there's actually a bonus for you guys, because Lasvit and Štěpán actually prepared a video for us, who you guys would have the first preview to it, to understand more about the Lasvit headquarters, the design process. And it's, I think it was by a architectural critic in Czech, and I'll present to you guys shortly. And for those online, don't fret, because all these would also be available online. So you just have to wait. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dobrý den, my jsme se dneska přijeli podívat na poměrně radikální realizaci ve veřejném prostoru, která pracuje se sklem, ale ještě zajímavější je, v jakém se nachází kontextu. To uvidíte za chvíli. Jsme v Novém Boru na Palackého náměstí, což je takovýhle velkorysý prostor, něco mezi náměstím a parkem. A my jsme se přišli podívat na centrálu jedné z nejprogresivnějších českých firm, sklářské firmy Lasvit. Ta se před několika lety rozhodla, že si nepostaví dům na zelené louce, který by si mohla udělat přesně podle svých představ, ale že si naopak koupí 2 starý historický domy, přikoupí k nim i okolní areál a doplní ho o nový stavby. Tady stojíme u více než 200 let starého domu, který byl nedávno rekonstruován a je to takováhle krásná dřevostavba, která se podle mě musí líbit každému, opravdu tradiční dům, který má něco za sebou. A jenom o pár metrů vedle je vlastně objekt podobné velikosti, ale úplně jiného stylu, z úplně jiného materiálu, úplně jiného designu, který naopak říká, co se tady nejspíš vevnitř odehrává. A to spojení těchto 2 věcí dohromady je, myslím, docela zajímavé. Když máte za úkol vložit novostavbu do historicky cenného prostředí, tak to není vůbec jednoduchý. To je památkově chráněný, vy se s ním nějakým způsobem musíte vyrovnat. A v podstatě existují 2 metody. Jedna ta metoda je, že se tomu co nejvíc připodobníte, a druhá metoda je, že jdete na maximální kontrast. Je jasně vidět, tohle je nový a tohle je starý. A já tady vidím snahu o spojení obou těch principů. Takže ano, jedna věc je dřevěná a druhá je skleněná, to už skoro větší kontrast nevymyslíte. A když se na to sklo pak podíváte, tak zjistíte, že jsou to jednotlivý šablony, každá z nich je originál a vlastně strukturou velice připomíná břidlicový střechy těch starých baráků a i měřítkem, takže je tady nějaká snaha ty věci něčím propojit a něčím odlišit a to je na tom, myslím, docela dost zajímavé. Tahle ta speciální fasáda má, myslím, několik rolí. Jednak ukazuje, že firma se nebojí experimentování a pustí se do věcí, které nejsou úplně jednoduché. Zároveň je to reklama vlastně na jejich práci. Zároveň je to trochu odvaha, protože říká, umíme to udělat dobře a přežije to zimu a jakýkoliv klimatický rozdíly a teploty. A za další je to prostě nesmírně elegantní věc, která tím jiným materiálem opravdu ukazuje, že sem přišla nějaká nová náplň, nějaký nový duch. A já když takovouhle věc vidím ve veřejném prostoru, tak v tom vidím i docela velký kus odvahy a důvěry v ostatní lidi, protože samozřejmě je to křehký. A vy to vystavujete do veřejného prostoru a říkáte, tohle jsme my a snad to takhle vydrží. Druhou novostavbou v tomhletom areálu je tenhle ten černý objekt a má podobný princip jako ten skleněný. Takže je to jednoduchá forma, která sem velikostně zapadá, ale má takový jednoduchý detail, který ji vyčleňuje z té historické zástavby. Když se na to zblízka podíváme, tak jsou tady zavěšený takovýhle střešní šablony, které jsou normálně používané opravdu jenom na střechy, když to tady na celou fasádu, stejně tak jako u toho skleněného objektu. Jedno ze zásadních rozhodnutí, které tady padlo, bylo rekonstruovat ty 2 nejstarší památkově chráněné objekty, které před několika lety byly v docela špatném stavu, byly doplněny o různé přístavby, které tam neměly co dělat a myslím si, že se to skutečně podařilo. Když se na to zblízka podíváte, tak tam uvidíte nové věci, staré věci, ale opravdu působí dohromady jako jeden celek. Hlavní téma celého areálu je určitě prolínání mezi starým a novým, takže dobře využít to starý, postarat se o to, zrekonstruovat to, ale doplnit to novou vrstvou, která je samostatná, autentická, krásná a někdy dojde k tomu vzájemnému spojení, který je ještě výrazně silnější. Když firma Lasvit zakoupila tyhle objekty, ve kterých sídlila sklářská škola, tak si myslím neuměla úplně přesně představit, jak náročná bude celá ta práce na rekonstrukci. Ale vypsali si malou architektonickou soutěž, oslovili 4 týmy, vybrali si toho, který jim konvenoval nejvíc a potom s ním společně nastoupili na cestu, která byla docela dlouhá a ta rekonstrukce byla potom zásadní. Takže si myslím, že nakonec dokázali pochopit, jak složitý to je a dali prostor někomu, kdo to zvládne. Velkou výhodou firmy Lasvit je, že nenásilným způsobem si sem může zakomponovat svoje vlastní produkty. Takže když uvidíte jakýkoliv dotyk něčeho současného, tak je pravděpodobný, že to firma sama vyrábí. Spousta historicky významných staveb vypadá nádherně zvenku, ale jakmile vstoupíte dovnitř, tak zjistíte, že ty malinkatý roztomilý okna zvenku opravdu přinášejí ten problém, že vevnitř je tma, jsou ty prostory malý, jsou těžko zorganizovaný, ale tady to tak není. Protože tady, jak je to doplněný o tu novou vrstvu, tak najednou se tady objevují dlouhý, hluboký průhledy a vy máte možnost zažít ten velký prostor vevnitř. Krásně se vevnitř pracuje s barvama, s tvarama, s přirozeným světlem, s materiálama, takže vy vstoupíte skrz černou kuchyni, která je relativně malá, ale klenebná, zajímavá. Najednou se vám to otevře, vy vstoupíte do většího prostoru novostavby, která je prosvětlená a potom můžete pokračovat dál do té dřevostavby, která byla rekonstruována. Takže tahle ta škála různých kvalit je za sebe naskládána a vy si ji můžete prohlídnout v jednom pohledu. Zrovna přecházíme z nové budovy do staré a opravdu to není nějaký obrovský kontrast. Je to v podstatě hra se světlem, kde ta stará budova je samozřejmě trošičku uzavřenější, tmavější a najednou se vám otevře, ale vy, když jste vevnitř, tak podle mě nepřemýšlíte nad tím, co je starý, co je nový, co je původní. Opravdu to na vás působí jako jedna věc. Během rekonstrukcí častokrát narazíte na něco nepředvídatelného. Většinou jsou to detaily, ale někdy to může být docela velká věc. Jako například tahle 21 metrů hluboká studna, o který opravdu do té doby nikdo neměl ani tušení. Jsme ve více než 200 let staré stavbě, do které je vložena spousta ale současných prvků, ale jak jsou udělaný z poctivých materiálů, ze železa, ze dřeva, dřevěný podhled, tak je vidět, že spolu docela dobře souvisejí. Kdykoliv se ocitnete v podkroví, tak si podle mě většina lidí představí nějaký nízký, tmavý, stísněný prostory, protože jsou do nich vložený častokrát podhledy ze sádrokartonu. Tady to tak není a je tady prostor na celou výšku, kde si můžete prohlídnout ty původní trámy a díky tomu to má nějakou vzdušnost. V podkroví se nacházejí krásné vysoké prostory, ale nemají zrovna příliš mnoho přirozeného světla, protože ty okenní otvory jsou opravdu malý, ale vy můžete snadno vyjít ven a ocitnete se na takovýhle obrovský terase, která tomu přináší kvalitu, kterou vevnitř nedostanete. V Lasvitu se věci vymýšlejí, vyrábějí, ale také instalují. A tenhle ten vysoký prostor slouží v podstatě k tomu, abyste si tady mohli některé náročné instalace předem vyzkoušet, než se osadí na místo finálního určení. Takže zvenku je to nenápadný černý dům, ale tady je zakopaný prostor docela hluboko pod zem, na celou výšku a zároveň jeřáb tady dokáže udržet ve vzduchu 5 tun, takže opravdu to slouží tomu, abyste si tady ty věci mohli pořádně otestovat. Nacházíme se uvnitř novostavby, která je zvenku pokrytá skleněnýma šablonama. A tady vidíme, že to je jenom sekundární fasáda, že je zatím ještě jedna, ale to, co tady podle mě budí největší pozornost, je tahle ta neuvěřitelně odvážná železobetonová konstrukce, která opravdu vytváří dojem, jak kdyby jsme byli natáčení z sci-fi filmu a zvenku v té tradiční formě byste to, myslím, nečekali. Mockrát se mi při natáčení v Česku stalo, že jsem byl v nějaké stavbě, která měla opravdu skvělý obsah, ale ta forma, ve které to bylo umístěné, moc dobrá nebyla. A taky jsem navštívil některé místa, kde to bylo obráceně, kde to vypadá sice zajímavě, ale ten obsah jako opravdu moc zajímavý není. A vždycky mám radost, když objevím něco, co mi připadá, že ty věci jsou v souladu. Lasvit je firma, která je nesmírně progresivní, snaží se opravdu dělat dobrý jméno České republice po celém světě, myslím, že velmi úspěšně. A tady v tomhletom prostoru dokázala, že si umí poradit i s tím skutečným fyzickým prostředím, zrekonstruovala skvělé 2 původní objekty, doplnila je o nové věci a vytvořila soulad, který ukazuje, že na to starý se dá navázat a navázat něčím velmi dobrým. A to je ojedinělý a mě to dělá velkou radost.